The United Kingdom is welcoming its first Labour government in 14 years this morning. The party has swept to power with a resounding landslide and handed the Conservative Party a crippling defeat. Labour has taken the majority of the 650 seats in the House of Commons, and party leader Keir Starmer has become the country's next Prime Minister. Now, moments ago, he arrived at 10 Downing Street, and here's what he had to say.
I have just returned from Buckingham Palace, where I accepted an invitation from His Majesty the King to form the next government of this great nation. I want to thank the outgoing Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak. His achievement as the first British Asian Prime Minister of our country, the extra effort that will have required should not be underestimated by anyone. And we pay tribute to that today. And we also recognise the dedication and hard work he brought to his leadership. But now our country has voted decisively for change, for national renewal, and a return of politics to public service.
Very gracious speech there from the new UK Prime Minister. Tom Perry is watching all of this from Downing Street in London. Quite a historic day, Tom. Tell us about what the Labour win is all about.
When the new Prime Minister Keir Starmer showed up here, there were Labour supporters on both sides of the door at 10 Downing Street cheering him as he arrived. The sun even came out for Keir Starmer, so maybe that's a good sign for the incoming government. As you heard in his speech there, Keir Starmer said that this government is about change, that they want to bring a new era in British politics. But he talked to voters about how that's going to take time, and he did talk as well about this being a decisive victory, and really it was. I'm just going to look at some of the numbers that came in overnight as the ballots were counted in this election. Labour comes away with 412 seats. That's out of a 650-seat House of Commons. The Conservatives knocked back to 121 seats. That's a loss of 250 seats. So this really is a thumping for the Conservatives. And for Labour, just a resounding victory. Now, this was not really a surprise. Public opinion polls, ever since this election was called, gave Labour a wide margin in the polls. So it was always, thought always was that Labour was going to win this thing, but just how big was that victory going to be? We now know, and we've seen the new Prime Minister here saying that he's taking this mandate seriously, that he wants to bring change. I guess British voters will now have to wait and see if he can deliver.
As we've mentioned, this isn't just a loss for the Conservatives, it's a crippling defeat. Earlier this morning, we heard from Rishi Sunak. How's he taking it? What did he have to say?
Well, Rishi Sunak came out of 10 Downing Street for his last time as Prime Minister today, accompanied by his wife. He went to the lectern. He delivered a very a sad-sounding speech. Obviously, this is a very, very difficult victory for Rishi Sunak, a very, very difficult defeat, I should say, for Rishi Sunak and the Conservative Party. And it was there in his tone when he spoke there was no supporters here, when he spoke to reporters here and to the nation as a whole. Here's some of what Rishi Sunak said during his last address before leaving 10 Downing Street for the last time.
To the country, I would like to say, first and foremost, I am sorry. I have given this job my all, but you have sent a clear signal that the government of the United Kingdom must change, and yours is the only judgment that matters. I have heard your anger, your disappointment, and I take responsibility for this loss.
So Rishi Sunak there being quite contrite, taking responsibility for his party's loss, apologizing to all those MPs from his party who have lost their jobs, and really taking it on himself the responsibility for what's happened. Very different message, obviously, from Keir Starmer, the new Prime Minister, one of hope, one of change. So we have seen a lot of change here at 10 Downing Street today. This really is a new era in British politics.
All right, Tom Perry, thank you so much, reporting for us from London.